Hello, this is the Human Rights Coalition of Alachua County Community ID Orientation. In this presentation, we'll tell you a little bit about our community ID, the requirements to obtain an ID, and some tips for when you fill out your forms. The HRC is a group of community activists and organizers from all parts of the community. We are members of many other organizations as well, but come together for the purpose of educating and assisting individuals and groups who are experiencing difficulties receiving their basic human rights. We are a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization that promotes collective action and coalition building around issues, policies, and practices affecting human rights. We work under the idea that we are stronger together than apart. One of the groups in our coalition is Madres Sin Fronteras, or MSF for short. MSF felt that families of vulnerable immigration status needed to be prepared to function in their communities, and so in 2016 they began offering information and support services. MSF members advocated for a local ID, one that would provide members of our community, those unable to access state-issued forms of identification, a reliable way to identify themselves during interactions with local law enforcement. In order to address that need, the Human Rights Coalition adopted a service model designed by Greensboro, North Carolina's Faith Action International House. One of Faith Action's aims is connecting community agencies and newcomers to build bridges of trust, understanding, and cooperation. Established in 2013, the Faith Action Network has grown immensely, with partners in North and South Carolina, Virginia, Iowa, Indiana, Ohio, and Oregon. In Florida, there are now 4 Community ID program partners. After HRC Alachua, programs were started in West Palm Beach, in Broward County, and in Miami-Dade. The Faith Action motto is "Turning strangers into neighbors," and we think this is something that the HRC Community ID does very well. About the ID. The HRC Community ID card is for any person in our community who may have limited access to government-issued forms of identification. The ID will provide you with a verifiable form of identification and helps you to identify yourself when interacting with police officers and community partners. The ID additionally symbolizes your support of a diverse and inclusive community. You don't have to be in need of the ID to get one or to use it. There are some important things to know about the HRC Community ID. It is not a government-issued ID, and it is not a license to drive. It does not give you the right to vote. It will not stop prosecution if you are engaged in an illegal activity, and it does not have any influence, positive or negative, on an individual's present or future immigration status. If it is not a government-issued ID, how does it actually work? The Community ID works because local entities have chosen to accept it. The City of Gainesville and Alachua County have both passed referendums approving use of the ID within their offices. The Gainesville Police Department has expressed support of the program and may use the ID as a tool for law enforcement. The University of Florida and Santa Fe College Police Departments support the ID as well. The ID can be used at local library branches and health offices. The HRC Community ID card may or may not be recognized by other law enforcement agencies, banks, or other entities, particularly outside of the local area where we do not have formal relationships. In order to receive an HRC Community ID, we require 3 pieces of original information, no copies. We require this information in order to provide an accurate and reliable ID and to meet requirements set by Florida law. Let's go over those requirements. First, proof of identification. This can be a passport, a national ID card, a driver's license from Florida or another state. Proof might also be paperwork from the judicial system or from an immigration court. You have a number of options, but whatever you present should be something with your name and photo. Second, proof of current address. Some of the options are a utility bill, a lease agreement or receipt of rent payment, a bank statement, a medical record or bill, a vehicle registration, or a Florida driver's license. Remember, your documents must be in your own name and be less than 3 months old. Driver's licenses must not be expired. Sometimes people have difficulty finding a current proof of address with their own name. If you don't have one of the options just mentioned, you'll need to bring 2 witnesses, family or friends who can attest to your address. Third, proof of age is required. We are required by state law to maintain for 3 years a copy of your proof of age and an affidavit in which you attest to your age. There is a very particular list for acceptable proofs of age. A passport, a birth certificate, a certificate of baptism, arrival documents, school records, and insurance policies are on this list. Please note that the list does not include driver's licenses. So, for proof of age, please bring a document other than your driver's license. You will need to bring these 3 proofs, or 2 proofs and 2 witnesses, with you to the drive. You should also know that the ID costs $10, which can be paid in cash or through the PayPal app. If you are experiencing homelessness or housing insecurity, the ID is free of charge. At the drive, you will check in and start by completing your forms. If you have multiple last names, we suggest that you use all of them on your community ID, or that you match your community ID to your passport if you have one. If, in your daily life, you use a name other than your legal name, please write both your preferred name and legal name on the first line of the form. Please note as well that we have spaces for both home address and mailing address. If you are able to receive mail at your residence, simply disregard the second set of lines for mailing address. Next, the lines for country of origin and phone number are just for our information. Your country of origin will not appear on the card, and we will not store your phone number after your card has been mailed. This form will actually be returned to you in the mail with your ID. You can ignore the box at the bottom of the form. It's just for our records. This is approximately what your ID will look like, front and back. Points to remember. Each card has a unique ID number and cannot be duplicated. The ID is valid for 2 years and then must be renewed. You will receive your ID in the mail within 10 to 14 business days. We will hold the copy of your proof of age and affidavit, as well as your signed contract, in a secure location at Westminster Presbyterian Church. Thank you for joining this presentation. You are ready to gather your documents, make your appointment online, and meet us at the next ID drive.